Alright, so Derieri just came out today, and after testing her for a pretty large amount of time, I can confidently say she is probably a must pull. Obviously, she covers every single area in the game that's meta. She has the best DPS I've ever seen by far. She's like everything Escanor should have been. I'll show later in the video, but she does so much damage, it is unreal. And yes, she is P10. I'm a player first, creator second. I'm not going to keep everything P4 just for videos, unfortunately, so if you want that, I'm not the right person, but I will tell you how to use her, the best rotations, and the best damage to get out of her. But what potentials do I think are the best? Well, P5, absolutely a must. P6 is very good. P7 is alright. Similar to MELI, her P9 is where she starts ramping up massively. I would say if you want her to be a meta DPS, it has to be P9. And then P10 is absolutely insane. It basically gives you 100% more crit damage. So yep, she's definitely a 9 and 10 unit minimum for DPS. For fire, I would probably say P7, P9, and P10. It's the exact same. 7, 9, and 10 are the key potentials here. And it is the exact same for her darkness. So her 3 kits are meta DPS, meta fire support for Escanor, meta dark support for MELI. But they're only extremely good if you're around 7, 9, and 10. Should you send all of your summons into her? It's hard to say. She definitely is way better than MELI when it comes to damage. Like, I don't have her built anywhere near as good as my MELI is, but she is absolutely destroying him when it comes to damage. I have crit chance, darkness damage, crit damage. That's a pretty solid roll. She doesn't have 100% crit chance. So she actually does want a little bit of crit chance when it comes to rolls. It's not needed, of course, but it helps a lot since she hits so much. Sub-weapons are just equipment attack, and let me break 7. You're definitely gonna want double buff earrings. All of her buffs only last like 7 seconds, so that puts you on a pretty tight time window. So the hero's magic is decreased by 50% for 7 seconds. The 100% crit damage is only 7 seconds, so like the big chunk of your damage has to come out in that window that you have. So having double buff, I have about 50%, so I basically have 10 seconds instead of 7 to get my full combo off with these earrings. Of course, we have the crit damage ring. Full raid set is definitely the best on her if you're at P9, I believe. She gets 20% defense shatter. Basically, if you want to utilize defense shatter, you need more than their resistance by base, so if you don't have at least 10% defense shatter, there's no point to use it. So for units like Escanor, defense shatter isn't actually that good on him because he doesn't have any of it built into his kit, I don't think. So whenever they have it built into their kit, defense shatter is the best way to do damage. What is it? That's debatable. It's treated like a multiplier. It might just be ignoring their defense entirely. We don't know. But it is the best stat in the game for damage. The armor, I got a decent roll. I put like 20 or 30 rerolls into it. You want ult damage, crit damage, and attack percent. Any of those 3 combinations work well. Since she does so much damage, her multipliers actually matter a lot. If you were to get a maxed out 2 of 2 here, you'd probably do like another 3 million more damage than me. So getting god rolls on her is much more impactful than basically anyone else in the game. But anyways, I do want to show off her gauntlets. But first things first, she doesn't have a single combo alter. So you either don't burst at all, or you bring a burster. I am pretty sure that bringing a burster here in this team would be less damage. Daisy provides so much for you when it comes to damage addition. So last time I did this full rotation, I hit this guy for 20 mil. He does actually get bursted because he has so little resistance. But usually he would not be bursted if this was like a normal boss. We're just going to do a meta DPS damage rotation with the meat pie food applied. If you don't know the rotations, you can like slow down the video or something. I don't know, whatever you want. Basically doing a go through ult, as much debuffs as possible to him. Then we're coming to her, spamming all of our E's, spamming all of our Q's, doing our full evolution combo ult, or not combo ult. We just did 20 million damage there. I don't know if you guys saw that. I'll try to break down the damage rotation, but be aware that it is completely different if you're not P10. I get 3 forms of her E. I get 4 forms of her Q, and I have, I believe, 3 versions of her ult that you have to push. So she has like evolution attacks, like you need to use them multiple times in a row to utilize the kit to the fullest. So you do all 3 E's, all 4 Q's, let the final Q hit land so you don't cancel the buff, and then you just spam ult like 3 or 4 different times until you do the super hit. So that's what you do on DERI, but you start with Daisy, you do your first strike, you maybe do your Untamed Roar attack increase. I don't even have that on right now, but you can get another 10% attack out of it. So let's just throw that on and try to test it that way. We have the Spring Robe. This doesn't actually help you at all for this training dummy. I believe the training guy has like no resistances, so obviously I'm going to hit him for quite a lot of damage. Go through is just on max debuff. I believe he's at 72%. You get the debuff from the earrings and the spider boots and the armor roll. Liz is just on defense since she's P10. 50k defense pretty much. That's the whole team, nothing complex, but I'm going to slow down the damage rotation for people who are not used to it or have never seen it. If your Daisy isn't P7, she's only going to have 2 of these lamps. So you do 2 lamps, Q, swap to DERI to activate the raid set first form. So let's do that real quick. First strike, all the lamps, Q, DERI, go through, Q, Q, alt, E, swap to Liz, E, Q, swap to DERI, spam all of our E's, spam all of our Q's, wait for that final hit to land, spam all of our alts. Final hit. Didn't even get to see the number, but that's pretty much it. With this setup of mine, I do believe you need the P10 go through so that your ult lasts very long. My ult lasts about 13 seconds, I think, or it should at least. I'm going to show a quick clip of what I did to the TARANIS on Abyss. TLDR, I basically hit him for like 25 million. He was dead before I even hit him with the final hit of 12 million, which is insane to say. But basically, if you summoned on Escanor, she is the character that you probably wanted to have. Just an absolute ult damage nuker. She ramps up a bunch of stats and just dumps it all into a massive amount of damage. That's basically the TLDR on Gauntlet. You can use her for literally anything. She will kill anything in the game with that combination. Even if she's not P10, even if your go-through isn't P10, you will kill the whole game with this setup. We could try GALLAND since I believe he is still the tankiest boss. So we're just going to do the same thing that I did in the trading arena, but I'm going to try not to get petrified by him. It is a bit tricky doing him with this damage rotation. So we're going to let him slam down until my debuff is gone. Okay, we're gonna freeze him. Okay, well, I can't even test the damage on him if he dies in the first 3 hits of my E. But that's pretty much proof enough, right? Any DERI in the world is killing this guy, but she just makes the base game an absolute joke. We do have a raid boss coming next week. It's already been leaked. But basically, you can tell just from the codex, it is the power of Kalbash, the ruler of the desert. DERI will probably blow that guy up in like 1 second. But anyway, let's talk about the Greatsword. So, obviously the main attraction of the Greatsword is a meta support unit for Escanor. I don't use Escanor at all, so I'm just going to actually show her off as a DPS, because she is extremely good as a DPS. Ideally, you would have a Black Flame Greatsword here, maxed out with actual useful rolls. But this will just show you how good she is, even when she's not built properly. Her armor has literally nothing but ult damage on it, using 7-set raid like usual. This is, of course, not what you want. You want, like, ult damage, crit damage, and fire damage, something like that. But anyways, let's just take this same exact team and use it against GALLAND, and you'll see what happens to him. We are petrified here. Need to wait a bit. Oh, he's dead before I even got to use the ult. But basically, you get the idea. She's so overpowered, I can't even showcase the kits on normal bosses anymore. That is the exact reason that I went into the TARANIS raid and started testing. Literally nothing survives. Same story here with GREATSWORD. You can use it as a DPS or a support for Escanor. I don't use Escanor, never even built them. He's P4, so I will leave that testing to somebody else. But you can use her either way. I'm pretty confident she can almost do more damage than Escanor, even with my terrible build. I've already done up to 3 million with her ult, with no burst. And the skills, of course, do like a large amount of damage as well. She's basically on par with Escanor as a DPS, I feel like. I would even dare say she might be better than Escanor as a DPS, I'm not gonna lie. The issue is you just can't utilize her kit as much as a DPS, because she is like more lean towards support. Take the armor, for example, you need a max HP boost on the hero. That just isn't gonna happen with this team, I don't believe. But she is an interesting unit. She does damage based on your allies' remaining HP, so the more HP you have, the more damage you do with her kit. It is a very hybrid kit. You can use it as a DPS or a support, basically in any which way you mix it. I think if you're going to bother to get her P9 or P10, she's probably just going to be a meta fire DPS, a meta dark DPS, and a meta dark support unit. And let's get into the axe. So, I do think her axe is actually one of her weaker specs. She is the best for melee, of course. But I've run into a very, very problematic situation where melee needs too many units. We can't take Daisy off because we need someone to combo ult with. And unfortunately, you cannot combo ult with her on axe. You can only combo ult with her on fire. Which is very, very strange. So you would have to run this team if your Liz is P10. Or you would have to swap Daisy out for Book Gother. This would obviously be the highest damage. But if you use Book Gother, then you have no one to combo ult with, and you would have to get rid of your Liz, which is insane. Losing Liz is like a massive, massive damage loss. But the same thing with Gother. He's so good that it's like, it doesn't make much sense to replace him, but you're forced to because you can't combo ult with DERI. So I'm not really a fan of this team, to be honest with you. You're forced to sacrifice so much damage just to fit her in. Now, this team is slightly better than Book Gother because you need 5 orbs to use Book Gother, and then you need 5 orbs to combo ult. So that's basically a 10 orb setup. It's very hard to do, and it's only possible if you're like P10. So I just wouldn't recommend it for myself, or I wouldn't recommend it for normal gameplay at all. If your goal is to do as much damage as possible, Book Gother would come into the team, but this is by far a more convenient team. I'll just do a quick Abyss Spider with this team and just skip through and show you the damage I do. Since this whole video is basically just a DERI showcase, I'm only going to be showing the, important changes that she adds to the teams. Okay, I actually ran past the white spider, I don't know where it went. But we're just going to do our tests on these other ones. So you do our E first, make sure the hit lands. We do our Q, swap to Liz, do everything on her. Fully proc our raid set, dodge that, and you can see to eat him. This dungeon is not weak to dark. Melee was absolutely mediocre in my last video that you've seen. I did a video where I soloed the raid with Melee already. And you can see the difference DERI adds is pretty huge. We're just gonna get our raid set back up again. Alright, there it is. Combo ult. Hope he doesn't dig underground. Oh look, guess what he did? Dug underground. That's 1E, 2, 3. Oh, and we killed the spider webs quicker. The power creep in this game is unreal. I spent like 10 hours killing these spider sacks last time. Oh, and I'm off the map. I will say, this kit has one of the coolest animations I've ever seen. Her E and her Q, and especially her ult on Axe, they're just absolutely amazing to look at. So, we're coming up on the main boss. We're going to do the exact same thing I did all the other times. And we're just going to see what it looks like. He's going to run away, I think. Yep. That is really unfortunate. I still can't manage to get my damage out quick enough in order to stun her, this melee team at least. So we'll try that again. We're going to be missing first strike now. Actually going to be missing quite a lot of damage, so this isn't a perfect showcase, but that would have done like 2/3 of her health if I still had first strike, I believe. Maybe almost would have one-cycled her. But you pretty much get the idea from that. Now here's my main issue with DERI. Why would I use Axe and buff MELI when she is better than MELI? One answer is leaderboards. MELI is always going to be quicker at getting damage out, so if they're a low health enemy, then MELI will be the faster option. But for the future content, I believe DERI will be better than MELI in mostly everything. The new like pseudo raid guy we're getting next week, DERI will probably be better than MELI. Like if it has a substantial amount of HP, DERI is going to be better than MELI everywhere. In the raids, in the knighthood boss, anything like that. She just simply does more damage a lot quicker. Honestly, my favorite part about Axe is that you can do this. If you're wondering how we do the golem so fast, it's because we run Axe DERI, and we just animation cancel her normal ability over and over again, and you go absolutely flying. There are other ways you can do this to do it forever. You can Axe, jump dash, and you can see it's taking basically no stamina from me. So if you were doing a really long dungeon, this is what you would do, I believe. You could also like change directional inputs at the same time, but this way is really hard. So I normal attack, tap down, tap up, normal attack, tap down, tap up. This is definitely the hardest way to do it, but it is technically the fastest. But honestly, that's my favorite part about DERI so far, that movement tech with Axe. Yeah, I think that basically fully covers DERI. I'm very happy with her as a unit. I think a lot of people are going to summon on her. She's like Escanor 2.0, basically. She's like Escanor 2.0 and MELI 2.0, if you really think about it. A very, very clear whale-heavy character. P9 and P10 on every single kit is where she starts to shine. But I've been having a lot of fun with her, and I think if you were saving up a bunch of free-to-play summons, she is definitely one of the units to blow it on. She's a universal DPS that's better than MELI in most cases. So if you summoned on MELI, you're probably going to want to summon on DERI. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you're going to use her as a DPS, this is definitely the best team. Quick tip, if you do want to burst her, I would use Gila with the Spirit Song Rapier to remove his defense. If you burst with the Spider Boots, it applies movement speed down. And when you're attacking an enemy with movement speed down, they remove 40% of their defense, so when you pair those two together, it's actually a pretty good chunk of damage increase. You would want to run the Dark Chaos level 3 earrings on her as well. If you run these on her, then it will give you even more crit defense shred. And the most important part is you get a lot more debuff. So I definitely run this on Gila if you decide to use a burster. Merlin is faster, but Gila will give you so much more damage than Merlin will. There isn't really much content they added this week. Basically everything comes next week. I guess I'll just be grinding out the leaderboard and then testing DERI on the knighthood boss. Yeah, that's about all I got to show today. Thank you everyone who decides to watch my videos over somebody else. It is very meaningful to me. And I'll do my best to just keep uploading videos with relevant content. I try not to upload stuff that just isn't really that important. Like, I don't think anyone in the game needs a guide for these events. It's just story content and then playing the game. But yeah, that's about it for the video. Thanks for watching. Peace.